Whether you are sitting up or laying down or whatever position you're in, I would encourage you to just get comfortable as possible. If you're sitting up, with your spine straight, your back straight as much as is possible, legs folded under you. Warm, cozy if possible, or flat on your back on the floor in your bed. Ideally with headphones, but if you're here now and you don't have them within reach, let's just go for it. And I want to encourage you to just, first of all, be in this moment. This is something I struggle to do myself, or have to remind myself constantly to do, is to simply be here and to breathe. It seems like I'm always fretting about some future moment or scrambling to get to the next quote unquote important thing. You know, looking forward with excitement towards something that is happening soon, or having anticipation and fear and worry about something that has not happened yet, instead of being in this moment, which is the only moment that is at any given time. We're always just here. So just start to take some deep, long breaths. As long and deep as you can. It might take a moment for you to find a rhythm, for you to slow down your breath, to slow down your thinking. And that's all right. We're surrounded by a lot of things that are riling up your system, your mind, your brain, and your heart and body. But we're here to let go of those for a moment and just breathe. So as you're slowing down your breath, I want you to picture the forests of the Pacific Northwest, which is where I live, and presumably the people listening to this now are my peers who live here as well. But even if you've never been, just picture, an idyllic, peaceful forest in the daytime. You're deep in the forest. You're not on a path. You're just in the woods near a river during the daytime. It's a gentle river flowing easily. It's cool and calm. You can hear movement, but it's not rushing. There are no roads nearby. There are no people nearby. There's a warm breeze moving through the trees. The tops of the trees are rushing with a gentle sound. You find it incredibly easy to be in that stillness with such calm, gentle movement happening around you. A smooth and gentle river and a calm wind overhead, and that you can feel just a bit its warmth, its movement, rustling sword ferns and other greenery around you. You notice how good this air smells, how good it tastes, how fresh and clean this forest air is. It's the cleanest, freshest thing you've ever breathed. So notably different from where you might find yourself. So you're standing at the edge of this river, or maybe you've sat down at its bank. It's comfortable and cool. You are feeling the perfect temperature. And you notice that life here around you, the greenery, the trees, the water, the air, it is incredibly simple. It is unbothered. It is not urgent about anything. And in fact, it is most happy when it is being neglected, when it is not noticed at all, but it's just being itself. This gentle world of nature goes on, whether you are noticing it or not, but for this moment, you are glad to be in it, surrounded by it. And as you're sitting here at the riverbank, just mesmerized by the sound of this water that never ends, it never stops flowing. It's such a pleasant sound, you could stay there forever. And there's a beam of sunlight coming through the trees. It's golden and beautiful. It's so simple. It's something you might see all the time, but in this space it seems poignant and particularly lovely. That golden light shines on the moving water and creates sparkles and diamonds there on its surface. Shapes dancing and shimmering and changing so constantly that the same exact image or pattern is never repeated. Little pieces of art being created constantly, forever, right there in front of you. And in this beam of sunlight, you see these thousands of little dust mites dancing, maybe pollen or whatever it may be, dust in the sunbeam. And it looks beautiful. It looks like a cosmic dance of its own, this movement. It's so gentle, so free and non-stop. And if it wasn't for that beam of sunlight, you wouldn't know that that was happening at all. And so you find your breath getting even deeper and slower, more slow and more deep, as you sink into this surrounding. You feel yourself, you feel your seat on the earth, on the ground, on this planet and land that holds you up, that rises to meet you. And your breath is now so slow and gentle and calm that you notice a faint buzzing, a sort of hum not far from you, but it's very soft. It's very organic, and it is the sound of a beehive nearby. And it is no threat to you whatsoever. It's a very pleasant thing to realize is there. This humming of bees, the sound that they make as they move back and forth from their hive, from their building, carrying pollen, coming back to build their octagons or hexagons. I don't remember which shape they make, and it doesn't matter. But there's something about envisioning this hive that you can't even see, this beehive, these walls of honeycomb. And to hear the buzzing movement. You can even see some of these bees, their fuzzy, golden, and black, furry bodies moving through that golden sunbeam. And there is something incredibly comforting about this, that the way that they know precisely what to do, the way that the bees may not know what they are cognitively, but they certainly know what to do. And it is a simple, beautiful thing to them to move back and forth, to make the honey, to make the honeycomb, to go out and find what they need and bring it back, to live incredibly simply, to do what they would do whether someone was observing them or not. This tiny world happening behind the scenes. So you find yourself in the midst of all of this life, the dirt, the pine needles, the trees, the tree bark, branches, wind, calm and warm wind, a sunbeam, moving water. The air itself that has a smell and a taste that is incredibly pleasant. And you realize that everything in you also fits here. It is a part of this picture, this nature scene, this environment, this landscape, these other living things. You may be different in category, but you are of all of this. You are of the earth. You are of nature. You are of organic matter, at least in one sense. And there's just something so comforting about that. It's like it locks into place in your body, in your mind, and you can relax even more because this is where you are. There is not a different place you're supposed to be. There is not a different thing you are supposed to be. Nothing and no one is expecting anything of you. You belong here. You are of nature. And the way that nature moves and changes and goes through cycles and seasons and birth and death and changing form. All of it is one thing. And at that thought, a lot of the complications seem to go away. And you find yourself sitting or laying down as you take in your surroundings. You feel almost as if your body begins to become one with the dirt. It isn't decay, it's a sort of settling in. It's a becoming, it's a merging with the organic matter surrounding you because you also are organic matter. And you feel your body just gently, slowly sinking into this dirt, earthen floor. And it's a wonderful feeling. It's like every worry of this life, every concern, just tumbling off of you at once. And you have this glorious thought. It's pretty funny, actually, that all of the things that you were concerned about for all of those days and hours and years as this nature absorbs you, they all seem pretty unimportant entirely unimportant. Because you realize you're just part of all of this. And when you observe the nature and what happens there, probably none of it seems sad or distressing. There's no mourning happening here. It's just doing its thing. And for some reason we think of ourselves as humans as outside of that, for some reason, as separate from it. But when we're in it, it's kind of a relief. And this absorption into the ground, we know that this isn't our death. Maybe it's something like practice for death, but it's more like realizing what we are is here, and what we've always been is here, in this moment. And that the thing that we actually are behind these eyes, behind this consciousness, has always been here. And that it will always be here. And that it is utterly unconcerned with changing form. And in fact, it kind of has a blast changing form. So let yourself sink into that sweet, peaceful ground, and that idea that what you really are has always been here, and it is seated in perfect bliss at all times, perfect contentment. And that perfect bliss is accessible to you. It already is you. It is a rare and remarkable thing to have a human body. And what if a lot of the point was to enjoy being in it? So continue to let those surroundings, the sound and the sensations, carry you where they need to. And keep breathing and be still and silent for as long as you need.